advice to callers with my co-host, Babyface Billy, and people just love it. Most recently, we were accused of giving advice that led to the death of a caller's spouse. Make sure to search for the phrase Hotline and Advice Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
I just took a stroll through the scraggly woods. He had no face! Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Your panel of expert hosts each week are Dr. Bryce Hansen, who holds a PhD in spookology,
Jammed.
and me, Professor David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. We have a wonderful episode for you guys today. I'm pretty excited about it. It sounded to me like Bryce was forming some salt about this movie last night, but we will be reviewing Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, the most recent installment.
What?
Oh, yeah. No, this is the one.
I watched Paranormal Activity marked once.
Oh, God. Yeah, yesterday we went to review this movie and there was a mix-up. So we're actually recording an episode on Paranormal Activity, the first one, and this one, the last one. And so, if you're a Patreon, you may get early access to these, in advance. A cool thing that you may not know about the show that you're listening to right now, if you're new, is we have the very best community of any podcast you've ever listened to, and that's scientists have the science is in, Bryce,
right,
and you have to trust the science. Believe me when I say we have the very best community.
It's 100% statistically accurate.
100%. If you enjoy the show, you should head over to our website, horrormovietalk.com. That's the place for links to our social media. It's also the place that you can go to take our listener survey, and we sure would appreciate if you could do that, because that'll help us dial in the show and make it better. So you can complain and say, I hate this or I love that. More of horror or porno, but less porno. That kind of thing. And we will of course do our best to make the show better for you. We have second Saturday watch parties. Last night we watched Tremors Shrieker Island over on streamlounge.io. Make an account over there. Follow us. It's kind of like Twitch, but you can see our faces while we stream. I had a good time with that one. We also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/horrormovietalk. And we post new episodes every single Wednesday, so make sure to subscribe to us and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, because that helps us out a lot. And finally, if you'd like to call us and give us a little piece of your mind, you can do so by calling 682-253-4468. We have a wonderful, wonderful show for you today. I'm pretty excited because, like I said, we're going to be reviewing this Paranormal Activity and the first Paranormal Activity. These are close to my heart. Close to my balls. Mm-hmm. I really love these movies.
Right.
A lot. We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score at 1 to 10. 1 is bad, 10 is great, 5 is totally average. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. And later in this episode, stick around. Or don't, if you hate what's at the end of the show. For It Came From Social Media, where we talk about what y'all did on social media recently. And, of course, Horror Movie Horrors, where we hop into our voicemails. So as I said, we watched Paranormal Activity Next of Kin on Paramount Plus because that's where it debuted. I don't think it's in theaters at all. Mm-hmm. I'm so pleased with the breath of fresh air and breath of fresh quality that it has brought to this flailing franchise. And while the activity is mostly not paranormal, it ain't normal. And that's good enough for me. So, let's get into the trailer.
All right, whenever you're ready.
We are shooting a documentary because I am about to meet my first biological relative.
She's Amish.
I'm not. I am not Amish.
We are humbled and grateful to have our sister Margot return to us.
I've always hoped that I could meet you all, so this is a really special moment for me.
Hey, mind if I film you for a moment? Hey.
I like your doll. What's her name?
Yeah.
You know, that was my mom's name. She used to live here a long time ago.
She's still here.
What did you say? Whoa. Why would they build a church all the way back here?
What is that?
The demon, Asmodeus, was trapped inside a chosen woman of God.
This has happened before.
What the hell? Are these from my mom? You can't have me and my baby?
I know every Amish family within a 50-mile area. They ain't Amish.
Jesus wird kommen, Jesus wird kommen, Christus schaut die ganze Erde. Jesus wird kommen, Jesus wird kommen, Christus schaut die ganze Erde.
Oh my God.
Are you sure about this?
I have to know.
And there's the whole movie.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer, beware. It really is not skillfully done trailer. Margot is a young woman who was abandoned by her mother at a hospital as a baby, and she heads to the Amish countryside to reconnect with the family that she and 23andMe claims she came from. She brings Chris and Dale with her to shoot a documentary that will follow her journey to reconnect with the community that she was torn from at such a young age. As Margot and her small crew are reluctantly welcomed by the Amish, they begin to notice that certain activities are going on across the spacious countryside. Paranormal activities. My review for this movie is directed by William Eubank, who also directed Underwater most recently. Paranormal Activity Next of Kin brings the franchise back from the brink and gives it a kick in the old pantaloons. While it doesn't carry on with the same content that we came to love in Paranormal Activity 1 through 3, it does have a solid premise and a great setting, and some decent scares. Mostly, I'm just thrilled to death that Paranormal Activity Next of Kin was entertaining and, for the most part, pretty well done. There was a simple mystery placed before me and plenty of twists and turns to keep me enthralled. While the subject matter is a bit different than the previous installments, it was still consistent and interesting, and let's be brutally honest here. The content of the last 3 Paranormal Activity movies, 4 through 6, has been really bad. I mean, it's unapologetically just tearing pages from the previous ones and reusing them ad nauseum, and it just didn't seem to have an end in sight. And this doesn't really do that. When I think of the Paranormal Activity series, the first 3 are top tier, but 4 through 6 get hung up on goofy camera hijinks, played out tropes, and throwaway acting and directing choices. Paranormal Activity Next of Kin stands on its own 2 demon haunches and manages to be an original installment worth watching.
Yeah, I feel like the series is progressively gotten away from the original concept.
Yeah.
And it, like, increasingly makes compromise for
the sake of holding the name.
For the sake of the holding name. And this is the first movie where I can point at and say, like, this feels like it's a completely different movie.
It does.
That they just decided to add Paranormal Activity to take advantage of the brand, because it's really not a Paranormal Activity movie.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a soft reboot, right?
I wouldn't even say that. It's like not the elements of what you associate the Paranormal Activity, name with are so wedged into this movie that I honestly think that it was a different movie before they're like, well, it'd probably be more successful if we changed a couple things and made it Paranormal Activity.
You're not wrong.
Because this is the first one where I really feel like not only that the feel that it's like, okay, this feels like a different movie, but also it's the first movie in the series where they just like gave up on committing to found footage. They're like, oh, we're just going to make a movie now.
I knew you'd have something to say about that, but that's just not true. I mean, there's tons of found footage throughout this. I mean, it's a documentary crew going to make a documentary.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of found footage movies. There's a lot of found footage in it. I mean, it's shot in concept as a found footage movie, but that's the thing that's distracting. Like, it honestly pulled me out the fact that it was a Paranormal Activity movie, because I'm watching it with that expectation that it's like, okay, the purpose of this movie is to be a found footage movie with realism and with no like added movie tropes.
Yeah.
And every time it did like a horror movie trick, it was like, well, that doesn't make sense, because like in the Conjuring movies, it would make sense to have a jump scare to where there's a sound sting that's like, just like, because that's a movie thing. And it's like, yeah, that's the sound engineers are making like a sting on the sound effect. But like, if you're saying this is a found footage movie, like, it doesn't sound it sounded like those sounds are things that would have to be added post-production. It's not something that would happen live in the moment. I mean, it's what do you call it? It's there's a word for it, whether the sound comes from the source in the frame or whether it comes from somewhere else. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like that's a little bit of splitting hairs, really. I don't think many people will get hung up on specifically that. I know you will. And that's fair, and I know some people will, and I think it's good criticism because it's true. It's definitely true. This does not feel like a Dead to Rights Paranormal Activity movie. It does feel like a different movie that's very similar in a lot of conceptual ways.
Yeah,
it's kind of been shoehorned into this franchise.
It's kind of, the fact that I juxtaposed it with watching the original, with watching this one, just made the contrast so stark.
Oh, yeah. No, as I was watching this, I hadn't watched the original in, I don't know, a year or something like that. And so it wasn't fresh in my mind. But I had just watched 4 recently, and 4 is true enough to the original that it's a Dead to Rights found footage movie, and it's a Dead to Rights Paranormal Activity movie. This is not like this is not super true to that. And I think that fine, great. It was not working. And we were not making interesting or good movies that were Paranormal Activity movies. And this is just on its own accord. It does pretty good, I think. What do you think? Does it stand on its own two demon haunches? I'm giving
it's not. I mean, it's average. I mean, my takeaway is through most of the movie, I was like, okay, it's
really?
okay.
You weren't. I was so interested in this mystery that kept going down this rabbit hole.
I could forecast it. I was like, okay, I bet they're not Amish.
Yeah, I could forecast. I could forecast it too, but it was still like I wasn't checking my watch the whole time. Like I was like, and Carrie was too. Like we were both pretty engaged throughout the whole thing. Like, oh shit. And it was kind of like this dreadful, like, where it's going.
I mean, there was just some things that were really distracting to me that, like, it kind of ruined my enjoyment of it. I think it's an okay movie. I think, honestly, I wish they wouldn't have attached Paranormal Activity to it. They should have just called it Next of Kin and let it stand, because it honestly doesn't add anything to it to say it's a Paranormal Activity movie. And I wish they would have just committed to say, like, this is a movie, we're making a movie, and for some shots we'll show it through the perspective of these people shooting the footage. That would have worked better for me than to say, like, oh, it's all found footage except this is very cinematic and it's got movie lighting and external sound effects and
movie lighting.
Yeah.
Like what?
I mean, it's when it's just very obvious to me, like, if you watch Paranormal Activity, it's literally just a consumer camera that's shooting people in a house. And it looks like that. It looks like if you shot a video with your camera and just use your house's lighting, that's what it would look like, because it's not...
This is a documentary crew with nice cameras.
Well, like, yeah, but
they go to efforts to
But there's a difference between, like, it's not the camera, it's the fact that they have, like, oh, here's a key light, and then the fill light, and then the hair light. It's like, it's very obvious that it's a movie to me, because it looks like a movie, because it's lit like a movie and shot like a movie.
It's a movie.
Well, that's the
so this is where we really dial in on the issue.
See, I don't
your issue is that it literally has the name Paranormal Activity on it.
Well, no, my issue is that it doesn't stay true to its stated concept.
Yeah, that it's a Paranormal Activity movie.
No, that it's a found footage movie.
It's just called Paranormal Activity. It doesn't say anything about it being a found footage. I mean, it is a found footage movie,
right?
Because it's a documentary crew. But I mean, this is not
nitpicky to me. This is like their intention was to do a thing, and they were very bad at pulling that off. Or they made so many compromises that it was really distracting.
I have no idea what you could be referring to. The fact that it had light, you're like, there's so many compromises. They had a key light and a hair light. It's like, what are you talking about?
Because it's if your stated concept is like, we are a documentary crew. I mean, even just compare this to
the whole house was lit by candles, for God's sake. Like, for the most part.
Yeah, if
this was all like, it's all pretty.
If it was lit by candles, you wouldn't. Okay, but the better comparison would be compare this to the Taking of Deborah Logan. Mm-hmm. Like, that's also a documentary crew.
Yeah,
what did that look like compared to the look of this movie? And is it not like super apparent that this is a movie and not like an attempt to use found footage.
Doesn't bother me at all. Like it's such a like tertiary detail, and I don't think they did a poor job at making it look like a documentary crew did it. Like I don't think it looks like super duper movie like so many scenes were shot with a light on top of the camera, as
sure
light.
Yeah, I mean that's why I say I wish they would have just said we're making a movie and just shoot it like a movie, and not like so all the shots that it doesn't make sense that they have the camera on, just shoot that like a movie, like, and then the ones where it was like this adds something if you see it through their perspective, just do that.
I didn't see any shots that didn't make sense, and I was like, Bryce is going to pull this apart because I was thinking about it. Didn't see a lot of shots that didn't make sense for them not to be shooting.
I mean, the very first shot. Like, the very first shot, the opening shot, I was like, oh, wow, they're like, just making a movie. Because it's, like, got this golden color in it that feels like it's got color correction. And it's like, this doesn't look like a digital video done with I don't know. I mean, again, I don't think this is super nitpicky, because it's not like, oh, this little thing took me out of it. It's literally the entire premise of the movie is to say, this is footage that they shot with a handheld camera and
a documentary
that they shot with a handheld camera, walking around like without studio lights, and they shot it as it happened,
Mm-hmm.
And with that premise, a lot of the choices and the visuals of the movie and the sound of the movie, which is all those things are kind of important for like pulling off.
Yeah, they were all well done.
Story.
Yeah,
they're distracting from that premise. It was like, oh, that's why. Why would they be flying a drone to have an overhead shot while they're driving? Like, how and why?
Because
it's like,
because it's a modern day documentary. Now you have drones and you can shoot those shots and make your documentary.
Yeah, but I mean, when you make those choices, like, it makes me think, like, logically in the real world, how would you do that? And it doesn't make any sense. It's like, what would they do? Just like hold out their hand and catch their hundreds of dollars worth of drone while they're driving? It's like,
what
you would do. I would think of, like, if I was the documentary crew.
Documentary crews do this,
right? But it's it's like there's a difference between getting B-roll and getting a cinematic shot of them traveling. Like, that's not. There's shots in this movie that would not be in a documentary movie. Like,
if there are, they're few and far between.
And also, okay, the other thing is that if this were a documentary, why don't they shoot anything like a documentary? Like, anything. Like, there's probably one shot where it looked like they set up the cameras for an interview.
Yeah, they got sidetracked pretty quickly because of all the weird shit that was going on. So what's your score for this?
Okay, so I will say, like, for the most part, it was very distracting, and if I separated out all those things that distracted me, I'd say, like, this is a pretty average horror movie. Like, it's on par with, one of the Conjuring sequels in terms of, like, story and delivery of stuff. And so I was, for most of it, I was like, this is a 5. This is, like, perfectly average. And then it got an extra point for the ending, because I loved the ending. The ending was fantastic.
The ending was was where it lost me a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, but I will say this, like, from my perspective, this was a a dreadful mystery that I knew what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen. I had some idea about what was going to happen and where this was leading the whole time, but it was this dreadful series of discoveries that kept leading down this horrible rabbit hole. And it was very interesting, to the point that, I'm just checking my watch through a lot of these movies, and I didn't do that once. And it wasn't like crazy over the top with jump scares. It was, and to me, I thought it was a fine version of a documentary crew shooting a documentary that's really super personal to the person who it focuses on. And so it all made sense to me. And so with all that, like, I enjoyed it quite a bit. And this sits at an easy 8 for me. Like, I mean, it's nothing that's going to, it's not going to be the biggest horror movie of the year or anything like that. And it doesn't necessarily need to be called Paranormal Activity. But I am, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Paranormal Activity, and it did get me hyped up enough. Knowing this movie was coming out, I did watch a couple of the Paranormal Activity movies, and some of those are really great.
So this is, for you, this is like a must-see.
Yeah. Yes, I really enjoyed this movie. This was a really solid entry into this year's otherwise pretty boring year. So with that, you guys should head over to nightchannels.com. From there, you'll find all sorts of stuff that you can clothe your body with, like shirts and sweatshirts, and they all have the most impressive deep cut designs from horror movies, occult, music, goth, all kinds of incredible and interesting prints. And I'm talking about stuff you haven't seen before. Everybody's seen the same old Alien t-shirt over and over and over again. But you've never seen the one they got over at nightchannels.com, and that's why we tell you guys to head over to nightchannels.com and take the Night Channels Challenge, which is just surf around. That's all you got to do.
That's the greatest endorsement of a e-commerce site is honestly, we're not asking you a favor. Just go there and browse, and you're going to find several shirts or hoodies that you're like, I kind of have to have that.
That talking head shirt.
Yeah.
It's just bombing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you do find those shirts, those sweatshirts that you can't live without, I got good news for you. You use code HMT at checkout. You get 13% off your entire order. You help us out over here at Horror Movie Talk. You help Night Channels out, and you get yourself a tremendous stocking stuffer for you and, the sallow lover in your family. So make sure to head on over there and see what you can find. Also, if you're listening to these commercials, you should know that you do not have to. You can sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/horrormovietalk, and from there, you will see a variety of tiers that can get you all kinds of different benefits. And each tier higher, so there's the first tier, second tier, third tier, etc. Well, the second tier has all the stuff in the first tier plus new stuff in the second tier. And the third tier has all the stuff in the tier 1 through 3. So the higher you go, the more stuff you get, and the more you pay, the better the content that you get. So head on over there, and that supports us directly, and you can skip commercials at a certain point. Head over to horrormovietalk.com/shop. Get yourself a t-shirt that says Horror Movie Talk on it with our badass logo. We have the baddest ass logo of any horror movie podcast out there, and I that is a challenge to other horror movie podcasts. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us that your logo is better than ours. I dare you. You can tell us your show is better than ours, and I'll be like, yeah, well,
tell
I
us
haven't.
Your hosts are more interesting and more talented.
You know what? I haven't listened to your show, so I wouldn't know.
But you know what? Our logo's better.
And that's all because of Dustin Goebel. He's a professional artist who fucks very, very hard. He also takes commissions, but he doesn't want me to say that because he's too busy. Because you people keep recognizing his incredible artistic talent and keep commissioning him, and so he's like, I need to spend time with my kids.
Which I told him that means you need to charge more.
No,
it means,
yeah. I don't know. I'm just trying to drum up business for Dustin.
I also want to drum up revenue for him. So
anyway, you can check him out at Instagram over his tag over there is at dgoebel00. That's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram. You want to get a hold of the show? You call us at 682-253-4468. Thanks again for... Sorry, let me try that again. 682-253-4468. Thanks again for listening, and let's get into spoilers.
Thanks, Mickey.
Listen, I cannot understand you. It's crazy. You're a fool. I can't cope with the stupid bitchy. Understand?
Every time I listen to that, I just smile. So, this starts in present day, just in the very, very recent past. This starts in March of 2021. Not that that necessarily matters, although it's...
They do the rudimentary, like, face masks. And then they take them off immediately.
Yeah, they do a little head nod to be like, oh, well, the reason we have a drone is because it's now. That kind of thing. And we learn that this is this documentary movie centers around a young lady named Margot, who's about to meet the first blood relative she's ever met. And the story behind that is she was dropped off at a hospital at the ripe old age of a couple months by her mom, inexplicably. She has no, I mean, I would assume as any child who's been dropped off at a hospital.
And she has found footage of it.
Right. They have the video camera evidence of that. I'm sure, man, your ability to be like miserly in your...
To point out distracting things that are distracting? Yeah. I'm good at it.
So what's the problem with that?
So when your adoptive family adopts you, they hand you over security footage of the hospital?
No. That's a whole story that you just made up in your head.
Why would she have that footage?
Because they're a documentary crew and they're going back and doing their research. They approach the hospital and they're like, "Hey, do you have footage of this time?" They're like, "Yeah, sure."
From 27 years ago.
It's more believable than her, adoptive family asking for the footage and then giving her.
No, that's less believable. Like security footage. I don't know. I don't think that there would ever be a reason
required to keep records of when babies are dropped in on their doorstep.
Well, yeah, the record would be writing down that a baby was dropped at their doorstep, and the police would be like, I mean, even think of it like, would the police ask for like, yeah, but where's the evidence that this baby was dropped off here?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Here's the video evidence.
So that they can identify who it was.
Yeah, I don't think that video would exist 20 years later.
Okay.
It's not, I mean, it's... You're going to say everything that I say is nitpicky, but I don't think this stuff is nitpicky. It's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, in a movie, it makes sense.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's a movie. We're watching a movie,
But they're not saying this is... They're saying this is real life. It's documented by real people.
No.
And that's the other thing, like, I mean, I don't want this whole episode to be me pointing out these things. And
but it will be.
Frustrated that I'm saying it, but it's like, especially when you pair it against the first one, it's like, okay, these movies are filled with real...
Well, the difference, though, is the first one makes explicit and was marketed with explicit intent to be like, this is real.
Right.
This is 100% real. And even at the start, they have a headline at the start of the movie that's like, look, we don't know where these people are. This one, yeah, this is much more of a movie. Yes.
Well, yeah. Isn't that the stated intention is exactly the same? That's my problem.
But the stated intention in Next of Kin doesn't exist. There is no headline at the start of this movie that's like, so this is 100% real. Like, it's...
Okay, so the fact that they didn't have text in the beginning...
No, the fact that it's not explicitly, intentionally real, that we all know it's a movie at this point. Yeah, no, it's...
No, but that's the stated intention of having a found footage movie to where it's all shot by the people in it because that reflects realism. I mean, that is the stated intention of a found footage. That's the whole reason for the subgenre.
And even then, like, in my head, I live in a world where you can find footage of a baby being dropped off, in 2001. Yeah, you can find that, Like, that, to me, that seems plausible.
Okay. I mean, but you're saying, like, I guess that's the difference between our watching of it is you're saying that the intention is different than the first one.
Yeah. Yes.
That they are making a movie.
Yeah, it feels a lot different, and it doesn't feel like they're really... The effort that went into being like, this is real shit, nodding to the audience,
right,
is not. It's almost not there at all.
Yeah, that's my exact point.
Right. Well,
you're seeing the same thing that I am, but you're like saying, okay. And I'm looking at it and saying, like, well, why would you say that it's found footage then? Because that's obviously not their intention.
Who said it's found footage? Like,
the fact that it's called Paranormal Activity and it's all shot through the perspective of the people in it. That's pretty obvious that they're using the trope of found footage.
I think this boils down to ability to suspend your disbelief.
Right.
Like,
you state a premise and you stick with it.
Well, you don't have to state a premise across a franchise. I mean, you're allowed to play. You have some creative wiggle room to move around in premise from 7 movies, like, especially when it's just been floundered. Like if it's not working anymore, like, you're allowed to wiggle out of the exact stated premise of the first movie on movie 7.
I'd be fine.
They did that. And they did that. They're like, it's a documentary. This isn't a handheld found footage thing. Some of these shots are going to look more professional because it's a more professional crew. Like, this is a camera crew. This is a camera guy. Like, there's a sound guy over here. Like, yeah, they go to efforts to hold your hand and be like, it's okay, Bryce. It's not the exact same, but we're still within that realm.
I think you're seeing the same things I am, but you're not, like,
bothered by
assigning any importance to the choices that they made.
No, I'm not.
And I agree.
It's not that I'm not assigning importance. It's that I'm willing to suspend my disbelief so that I can have, a decent experience.
Right. I'm just saying, like, I agree. Like, I'm fine with them taking liberties and, like, saying, we're not going to do this the same as the last 6 movies because it's getting played out. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to do it this way in this one while still picking and choosing what works from those other movies.
Uh-huh.
I wish they would have done that instead of, like, trying to wedge in, like the found footage element. Like they should have just shot it like a movie, like any other thriller or Conjuring movie, and then every once in a while
it's okay to have an ode to the way that it, like your whole issue is that it's a half like a half found footage movie, and it just doesn't bother me. Like so it's a documentary crew. So like, okay, so that gives us 3 protagonists that we can follow through hijinks, like.
Right.
I have nothing in common with you. So Margot came from an Amish family. She was abandoned as a baby in 97. And then we get to meet, boy, do we meet the sound guy first or do we meet her relative first?
The relative.
Yeah, we get to meet her relative. They're in like a restaurant, and her relative is this Amish kid, and he's going to bring them back to the community. And it seems like he's strayed from the community. He's one of these, every Amish kid at some point gets let loose.
Well, it said that he took his Rumspringa, and then he just fell in love with a girl and stayed out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and
Rumspringa is like a year sabbatical from living the Amish life and going out and living in like the regular society.
Yeah.
To see like whether you like it more or not. It's like,
yeah.
Which is something that I really respect. It's like, yeah, that seems fair. It's like, okay, go out, drink, do drugs, like watch the movies and be like, am I better now? Am I better now? Is this worth it?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm miserable. I better just go back to where I just have to chop wood.
Yeah. Tell me, who is your favorite character in this movie? We got our camera guy, who's. Hang on, I got the list back here. Oh, I didn't print out my list.
I mean, they're all okay. I mean, I think the main girl is probably the most interesting. I guess.
Liked Dale, the tall sound guy.
Yeah.
Obviously. I always, if you're able to write the funny part well, I love it every time. I'm just like, yeah, it's the funny guy. I like that guy. He was so charming. And he didn't get offed for a good while. Mm-hmm. So I was very pleased that we got to have his like his little commentary throughout the whole thing. He was introed by being like, "Zip off pants, am I right?" And I was like, "My man, like, if it's hot, you just take off the zippers." I'm like, "Yeah, and you're cool too." So the first thing that happens once they get there is they're immediately shunned. Like they got their guide, who is the kid who took the Rumspringa and left, and he's like bringing them back to his house. He's like, "I'm gonna go visit my parents, and you guys can come with me, but these cameras, I don't know about this, because the Amish believe that if you got cameras in your face, they're gonna steal your soul." So they get this was the one part of the movie where I was kind of like, well, that was unnecessary, where they turned them away and then only immediately to bring them right back with a little kid jump scare.
See, that's the thing. Like, a lot of things in this movie were just obviously done for effect, because it doesn't.
It's almost like a movie is just a series of effects that take place.
It doesn't logistically make sense.
That one didn't, for sure.
And there's a lot of that, especially. I mean, it's that stuff is distracting for me. Where it's like, okay, why that specific shot is done for effect, or that specific scene is done for effect, but when looked at as a whole, you're like, what? Wait, what? Why?
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Like, even like, okay, here's another point where it's like, why did they do it? And I don't think they ever really explained it in a satisfactory way, which was, they're not Amish. Like, they say specifically they're not Amish.
Right. Well, they don't. The postman does.
I don't know if they ever say that they're Amish, though. I guess they do. Yeah, well, anyways, like, but they're not.
Right. The postman tells them, "Oh, you're staying with the old who's it family?" Yeah. Well, yeah. No, they're not Amish. And they're like, "What?"
Right.
I delivered mail in this area for 20 years, and I know all the Amish family, and they ain't Amish. They're something else.
And then it's revealed that, like, you know, the guy has a computer, and they've been planning all this, you know, through the internet, and they will use technology. So it's almost like, I don't understand, were they, like, setting it up for her to look Amish? Or are they always living like they're Amish for no apparent reason?
No, they're living like they're Amish to, my very, like, it's not explicitly explained.
I mean, the thing that they say something to.
Let me. My take of it was that, you know, you're hiding in plain sight. It's easiest to just blend in with your surroundings. And so, what do we need to keep this thing under wraps? Right? We need land. We need a religious excuse, so like a religious exemption. And we need space, lots of space in the countryside. So we don't want to be bothered, right? Just leave us alone. We blend in with our surroundings.
Okay, well, I mean, religious exemption from what?
Again, this is just my, like, this is just
because, I mean, that's the
story I tell myself that they're kind of alluding to, that it's never really explicitly said.
Right. I mean, even the one thing that's said is that. Oh, it's because they're hiding in plain sight. Like, is it? Why wouldn't it be plain sight if they were just living like 99% of the U.S. rural population, which is just maybe they're living out there on a farm?
I mean, well, why can't they all enjoy this type of life? Like, you know, why can't this be part of their religion, which is clearly very crazy?
Yeah, I mean, that's
like, it's more extreme than Amish, that's for damn sure.
I mean, that's fine. I just wish they would have put a little more effort into explaining why they chose that, because that's like,
oh, that's coming. That's going to be next of kin too. They very clearly left that open for that.
There's no community left, so it's not like they need to explain it. Now it's just.
Oh, yes, Samuel. There is. Are you kidding?
They all died.
In this household, sure. But they're part of a whole community. This is so easy to expand this. Like, this is...
So, I mean... Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I juxtaposed this with was... I watched Witness a couple days ago, which is all set in an Amish community. And... I'm so glad that they just explicitly said at some point that these people aren't Amish, because I was watching and it was like, this is so low effort. Like, they're not... The premise is really interesting to say, like, we're going to set it in this completely, like, foreign, different culture. Like, very different from what you're used to. Of a more, you know, primitive... lifestyle. And part of that is just the personality and the behavior of the Amish is also very different. It's not like, oh, we're living in a different way.
Right.
It's like they do not have most of the knowledge that you do about, you know, the wider world. And also, like, their priorities are, like, completely different. How they talk about the world and themselves is completely different. So that was, like, very apparent in Witness, and I don't even think that's necessarily representative, but it feels, I mean, even Kingpin was probably more accurate with the Amish than this movie. And
well, they weren't Amish.
But eventually it said, like, they're not Amish. I'm like, okay, well, at least I have an excuse not to hold them to that. I just wish they would have made the personality stronger, because they all just seemed like actors in a movie. Like, they're all like, I don't know. It's a real subtle difference. They're all delivering lines like they're modern people, like talking in a modern way. So, like the interview with the father, where he's like, she was always, a nonconformist in a homogenous society, and it's like, that's not, to me, that's not how...
You see yourself a little too much.
That's not how that person would talk. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not how they would say that. And so, even if you're, like, a conservative religion, that's not how they would put it.
Right.
They wouldn't say, like, it's just a nonconformist. It's like, no, it's like the way that a religious person would say is like they were drawn to sin or something like that. They would say it like in a way that they lost the battle, not like that they were inherently that way.
Yeah.
And even if you watch like one of those reality shows about the Amish, you're like, oh, there's just like an innocence and like a plainness to the way they communicate that just wasn't in this at all. So I'm glad that they eventually said, well, they're not actually Amish, because that makes more sense.
Well, my boy Dale came in and said, do all pigs have nice butts?
Yeah. Dale had some good lines, like the stuff that they chose about like how to make him quirky.
Yeah,
like was pretty good choices.
I really enjoyed his character. He's probably the most likable horror movie character of 2021 for me. Like, he just rung a bell for me. So let's get into so we're in spoilers proper here. So, if you haven't seen it, it's on Paramount Plus. Hop over there. I'd say watch it. Bryce gave it a 6, so I'd still kind of watch it. But here it goes. We're gonna get into the main thrust of this whole thing. So, Margot notices activities in the house that can't be explained by people.
They're not normal activities.
Not normal.
Like next to normal.
Yeah, close to it. And
perpendicular to normal.
Right. And so, things go and bump in the night, and then there's a church that a little personal church that this family has, kind of way out, separated in the woods. It's a very inhospitable place. It's snowing a lot. It's cold. And the people keep alluding to Margot's mother still being there. Like, still
at least one little girl did. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple little, like, people are like, oh, yeah, she never left. And so she's like, there's something going on. Like, she's the ballsiest girl you've ever seen in your entire life. Because when they get into this church, they see people doing rituals at night. It's just fucking weird, And so they get into this church and they find this tunnel that goes way deep down underneath the church. I mean, straight down. Mm-hmm. Straight down. It's like a pit that's been dug to keep something inside it. Mm-hmm. And
it's impressive the water table's so low there.
It's crazy low, like, especially considering how much it snows and rains out there.
Right.
It's almost as if there were paranormal forces that were keeping the water table at bay.
I will say that hole is the most effective part of the movie.
It's so compelling.
That was my favorite. Like, this is just great. Like, this is a great element of a horror movie because it is frightening being dropped down into a black hole.
I loved this.
Yeah.
This hole was...
I can't believe that Bryce
agrees with me about Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. Yeah, this hole was fabulous. And the click, 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 the winch to lower her in, like how slow it went. And you're just like, oh, God, what's at the bottom of this hole? And you kind of knew it was her mom. You kind of knew that her mom was down here the whole time.
See, I didn't think it was her mom until it showed the woman. But I thought it was like, oh, well, it's a demon down there.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So there's this demon Asmodeus that these people, basically kind of worship, but they don't necessarily worship him. They kind of appease him. They kind of like keep him trapped underground. And he needs a vessel to sit in. And that vessel is Sarah, Margot's mom, and now Margot. The reason they've brought Margot here is because, well, your mom's kind of, Asmodeus takes a toll on... You can't just hang around with Asmodeus in you forever. So in this pit, we've been taking two-headed lambs and calves down here, and
she really loves two-headed lambs. It's like her favorite. It's her favorite dish.
Yum 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 yum.
Impressive. Very nice.
She loves. Every time they bring her a two-headed calf, she's like,
impressive. Very nice.
Asmodeus. Anyway, so that's where this ends up. Is deep under this church in this deep dark hole, and she has so much balls because she's just like, I'm going down. Like, I would never, in no world would I be like a winch lowering into a hole with a bunch of crosses in it. Sign me up. I'd be like, no. And so that provided a tremendous amount of anxiety for me. I was just like, do not go down into that hole. Why would you go down into that hole? Then she gets down there and it's like,
hey, there's growling and grunting sounds down there. Lower me down.
Oof. Yeah, dude. Asmodeus, as it turns out, is the king of demons. So we're not talking about just some piddly little demon.
I do want to say we skipped over one point that I just wanted to point out. They're interviewing the father of Sarah, and I love this one moment where he's like, so we shunned her. It's like, and that's really where she grew distant. Like, he said
something about the shun. I don't know.
He's like, and that's when she just kind of pulled away. Like,
duh.
You shunned her. It's like,
that's the point, wasn't it?
It's like when you're beating up someone and just saying, like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Why are you hitting yourself?
Like, I just love that. It's like, I just don't understand why she left after she was shunned.
It's so tragic how they hopped on Pop. Yeah, and let's see here. Where are we at? So
huge hole.
We're
talking about Sarah.
So they're not really worshiping Asmodeus. What they're mainly doing is keeping him at bay
and containing.
So these are good people. These are people who are preventing Asmodeus from being unleashed on the world to do horrible things. And so, if Margot really wanted to do the right thing here, she'd give herself up for Asmodeus.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Sophie's choice.
Right. Yeah, and we're like told explicitly, like, no, this is what you're doing is wrong to try to help her escape, because if Asmodeus gets out, it'll possess anyone, jump from body to body, and kill everyone and create chaos throughout the world.
And then he does that.
Yeah.
They get rid of Sarah, who's the container, the vessel for Asmodeus. They get up to the whole family, and everything is in total chaos. It's just abrupt. It's just that subreddit, abrupt chaos.
Right.
And
which I kind of love, because it's like it's a pretty slow paced movie.
Yes, it is that should be mentioned. This is not a quick, lots of jump scares. This is really a metered out, slow paced movie.
Yeah. And then it just goes full retired.
Yeah.
Like at the end, like, we are moving into the retirement community, and it's just havoc and
walk me through this ending.
Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
Walk me through this ending. What did you like about it?
Just the chaos and like yeah, I mean, it's just super chaotic and people with their eyes gouged out and like they're just like, what the fuck?
Wow, this went from 0 to 60.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, this was a bad choice.
Should have gone down there and just let Asmodeus take it.
Yeah. And then
Asmodeus take the wheel.
And then with the cops showing up and then Samuel being possessed and just like making them shoot themselves, that gets a little like, oh, okay, you can't make them too powerful.
Yeah, I became confused. I was like, wait, what? Wait, what's happening? Like,
but in the end, you're just like, no, there's a super, super powerful demon that could basically take over the world now, and you just released it. Good job.
So
hope your documentary turns out nice.
Yeah, who are they showing this? Who are they showing the finished product of this documentary to? That should be a real problem.
It's like,
So the Ghostbusters will have to come in. Oh, Ghostbusters Paranormal Activity crossover. Ooh. This always made sense. How has this never been a thing? Get a little Bill Murray and
but it's not a ghost, it's a demon.
Yeah, true.
It's different.
But don't
remember the guy in the first Paranormal Activity is like, oh no, my specialty's ghosts. I'm useless. Yeah. I can't do anything. This is I got to get
Frankly, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I got to get you. I got a demon guy. Let me give you the number to my demon guy.
He's out of town. He's in
he's in northern Canada.
Fiji, doing fun stuff in Fiji on his demonologist salary. Mm-hmm. The whole ending was actually left me being like, wait. I felt spun around. I was like, whoa. That was bonkers.
Right.
But I did love the mystery through the whole thing. I'd say, if you're a big fan of the Paranormal Activity movies, this will at least remind you of them. It really is not much in terms of like continue. It does nothing to continue the storyline of Toby.
Right.
It does nothing to continue the storyline of Christy or Katie. This is a whole new start for the Paranormal Activity franchise, and it would not surprise me at all if they use this as a leaping off point, as like they might a soft reboot. Mm-hmm. But it's I don't know. Depending on who you most if you're a person who more frequently sides with my opinion on movies, then I think you'll have a fun enough time on this. If you're able to suspend your disbelief for just not even a lot, just a little bit, then you'll be okay. What do you think, Brian?
I mean, if you're a huge fan of Paranormal Activity movies for what they are and like the premise of it, like
this isn't that.
Yeah, it's not that.
No.
It's more akin to the other found footage movies that take a lot of liberties.
Yeah.
Like, the further down the road to where it's like, now it's just like they just chose to say it's found footage because they want to have shitty camera jiggling, all the time. So yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot of people that like this. It's a decent horror movie. Like I wouldn't say like it's bad. For me, it was just really distracting, mostly just because the marketing and the premise of it. But if you can suspend your disbelief and enjoy it for the story and the characters, it's fine.
Yeah. Would you suggest people buy a Paramount Plus subscription solely for this?
No.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Although Paramount Plus seems to have a decent amount of
it's not bad. I mean, I looked at the other movies that are on there. It's like they've got a good selection.
Yeah.
It's so hard to find. I wish there was like a service that just said where the duplicates were, or just told you like these are the exclusives. Because there's so many movies and like docs that are on every platform. You're like, okay, this is the billionth time that I've seen, you know, Jurassic Park put in front of me.
Yeah.
Because it's on everything, you know?
Yeah.
I can't think of specifically like what the movies are that are common among all of them, but I wish that you would just say like, these are the good ones that are exclusive.
Yeah.
So you can decide based on that. Anyways.
Okay. So with that, let's get into It Came from Social Media.
Yes, it came
from social media
to fill the world with terror, to bring you unforgettable suspense. What was it? Where did it come from? Who were the all-powerful creatures it brought
from social media?
And what did they want on Earth?
If you haven't guessed by now, It Came from Social Media is stuff that happened on our social media. Specifically, I'm going to be taking a few things out of our Facebook group, but not only that, we had a recent comment on YouTube that I'm going to read as well. So buckle up for that. Actually,
is it that novel that guy wrote?
Yes. Yeah.
About Candyman?
Yes. I thought that was interesting.
Huh.
You know, first of all, I'd like to thank Ryan Joyner, who is steadfastly posting on the Facebook group his reviews of horror movies that he takes a lot of time to review movies and put them up on the Facebook group. And here's one about Great White, which is a 2021, yeah, you guessed it, shark movie. Great White gives us the answer to the question, what would happen? This is by Ryan Joyner. What would happen if 5 of the blandest people in the world were trapped on a raft for 60 minutes of a movie? And what a team of plain oatmeal we have. We got the boyfriend with a traumatic past, the pregnant girl to add unnecessary tension, and the annoying guy, the douchebag, and the other one. Other one literally had no discernible character traits. Ryan takes a lot of time and effort to put some comedy into his writing, and he watches movies so I don't have to, and I get these nice 6 or 7 paragraph synopses, and he's been doing it for a couple months now, and so I'd just like to take a moment to appreciate him. Also, recently, big news, Bryce. Remember all that SS Experiment Camp 2 hubbub a couple months ago where, I mean, there were just nonstop memes and they were trying to get us to review this terrible movie, and then public sentiment kind of turned against them. And some people were mean to the people who were pushing SS Experiment Camp 2, and it resulted in some jerk said something mean to Hans, and Hans left the group or something. He went radio silent. I don't know if he actually left the group. The way Facebook groups works doesn't really allow me to see that specific stuff, but he's back. Hans is back. So big news, everyone. And he posted recently, in honor of Elizabeth Velas, I'd like to ask what your favorite horror subgenres are. I personally like the rough, edgy, early 80s urban slashers like Maniac, Tenebra, Nightmare in a Damaged Brain, or New York Ripper. Something about the simplicity and blunt force of this type of movie. What subgenres do you prefer, and why? Elizabeth answers him, based on people's responses yesterday, I might get flack for this, but I'm a sucker for found footage. I agree with people that hate them. The bad ones are bad. I still like them, though, but I understand why they are bad. Let's see here. A lot of people mention creature features, which I'm just not so much a sucker for. What about you? In terms of, like, what would your favorite subgenre of horror be?
Family-based haunting.
Family-based haunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, Paranormal Activity Next of Kin.
No.
Oh. Well, but it's family-based.
It's not. I mean, I'm talking about... You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Jeffrey Kress writes, he likes cult, demonic, and folk, and also teen slasher. Really ranging the gamut there. Mm-hmm. Dan says he likes supernatural and psychological. He loves movies that blur the lines between what's supernatural and what's in your mind. Brad, my buddy Brad, says psychological thrillers are my fave. Story-driven, plot twists, great acting. Lots of people saying psychological thrillers. And, Tandra says she likes black and white creature features, like The Blob, Attack of the Giant Leeches, Them. And I've been going back and watching these older movies.
Yeah, it's
so comfortable. It's like a big, comfy, easy chair.
I don't know. I tried watching Creature from the Black Lagoon. Everyone says, it's like the best Universal horror movie.
Okay.
I couldn't
do it.
It just looked like every MST 3K thing. It's like, oh, science man doing science by a black lagoon. Uh-oh, there's a creature there. There's a creature in the Black Lagoon. It's swimming. And I was just like, okay, it's a monster, I guess. I guess it's bad.
Are you cooking in there? No. Are you making an interocitor? No. Yeah.
I will say I did like the original Frankenstein. That ended up being more entertaining than I thought. I watched Bride of Frankenstein in October, and that was interesting as well. I mean, it had most of what you associate with Frankenstein in that movie compared to the original. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was also kind of this is not as super entertaining and engaging as I would expect a classic to be. But,
Well, I mean, you kind of, you have to weigh it as part of its time, and it's kind of its time was boring as shit, bro.
I mean, there's some classics where you watch them and you're like, oh, well, that holds up. That stands up in any time. So, if you watch Casablanca or Citizen Kane, you're like, okay, that's in the time when everyone was talking like My Girl Friday. It's like, oh, so you came into my office, see, and you blah, blah, blah. And, they're quick talking, stage play actors.
Yeah.
And then you see, Citizen Kane, where it's, much more modern acting and filmmaking. You're like, oh, well, this is where Orson Welles cracked the code. This is where they started making actual movies,
Yeah.
And as opposed to stage plays filmed.
Yeah.
And then some films from those times are not timeless.
Yeah, and if you guys would like to take part in these, there's a lot of discussions about horror movies going on over at our Facebook group. So head on over there, and I promise you'll be greeted with open arms. Just looking at this wall of text that's left on our Candyman review, I don't think I'm going to read it, but Paraparik left us a very interesting if you're actually able to get through it, he got a lot of interesting points about how the new Candyman is kind of reverse racist. And I don't know if that's something that's real or not. You guys can write in and tell us if reverse racism is real, but I'm just trying to figure out, what all racism is, because I'm very stupid. So,
I'll have to read that comment because I can't identify anything that was.
They killed only white people. Only white people were killed in the new Candyman movie, whereas in the old one, it was more about uniting the people of differing color. In an attempt to kind of bridge that gap. but in the new one, it was kind of about sticking it to Whitey, which, you know, it may not be I don't know, race relations being what they are. You may not want to, I don't know, segregate a whole group of people. It just doesn't seem like it held up in the past. So with that, let's get on to horror movie talk. Whores. This is a little bit where you guys can call into the show at 682-253-4468. Let us know what's on your mind. Let's get right into it. This is Sam.
Yes, this is Sam from Indianapolis. I just want to speak to 2 points from the Last Night in Soho podcast. The first one is you should relate more to the women in fear. The threat of rape is always present. And the second point is...
Wait. I should relate more to the women in the women of Soho because the fear of rape is always present. Is he alluding to your saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's a saying that me and my friends had, which was rape is always a threat.
It's always a threat.
And I don't think that's like a perspective that only women should have. I think men should just understand that there's always a threat of rape.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if we're talking practically about this subset of people who are interested in raping me, much smaller than the subset of people who are interested in raping the lead cast from Last Night in Soho. I just have a lot less to worry about.
True.
Statistically speaking, I'm doing okay.
But it can strike at any time is the thing.
Can it?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, are you safe here with me?
No, definitely not. But there are other times when I feel very safe, you know? Like, but here, no. You're right about that.
Right.
Yeah. Here, Sam continues.
When the eyes are big and spaced out like that, that's fetal alcohol syndrome, and you're basically shaming the poor young woman for her mother being a raging alcoholic during pregnancy. That's just sad. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, Sam from Indianapolis.
I'm pretty sure that's not the case.
No, it seems like just...
Yeah, I don't think FAS is like associated with wide eyes. It's more like droopy eyes. Moving on.
Hey, Rice and David, it's Robert the Farter.
Oh, boy!
So I checked out the t-shirt. Hey, Rice and David, it's Robert the Farter. So I checked out the t-shirt website.
Nightchannel.com.
I'm trying to remember what it's called. But they have some really cool stuff on there. I thought that was cool. I just listened to the Halloween 4 review. And I'm trying to figure out how to become a patron, but I can't exactly figure it out yet. But I think I'll get it, hopefully. And then I just had a question. If you could tell me what this line is from. They mostly come out at night. Mostly. So just tell me what the line's from, if you can, if you know what it is. And see ya.
All right, he's filling out the character.
I love Robert the Farter.
Right.
First of all, Robert, thank you for trying to figure out how to become a patron. Anybody who supports the show is doing us a huge favor. We really want to build this show into something that can support our families. So if you feel like Robert, if it's a confusing venture to try and figure out Patreon, we can help you. Just message us on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, and we'll help you out. But what's that line from, Bryce?
That's from Aliens.
They mostly come out at night. Mostly. That was Newt. Yeah. Yeah, good question, Robert the Farter.
You know what Robert's voice kind of reminds me of?
What?
You know that YouTube video of like the guy giving instructional, like, this is how.
Oh yeah, the series of videos that get progressively weirder and weirder, and like
you gotta seal the hole.
You drill it, and then once you drill it, you gotta hold it with both hands. And then you spill water on it.
Yeah,
I love. Yay! I love that channel, that YouTube channel. What is that?
I can't remember the name of it, but it's like kind of iconic. I've never watched all of them. I think you showed me a couple of them.
Oh, I watched the whole thing. I can't.
They're kind of amazing.
It goes down this horrible rabbit hole of like.
I watched like one of the last ones I think on TikTok where he's like in the woods. He doesn't have like clothes on and he's like dirty and like bruised, and he's trying to seal like a hole in a tree.
Alan tutorial. How to crush a can.
Hey guys, thanks for coming to YouTube. Today on my page I'm going to show you a new tutorial, brand new, on how to crush an old can of soda with wood. So here's the soda, it's Dr. Pepper can. You need one soda can.
How to crush an old soda can with wood. Well, good news for you. We got another message from Robert.
Okay.
Hey, this is Robert the Farter again. Sorry, I had a question for you guys.
That's okay.
So I was wondering what your least favorite movie in the Halloween franchise is. Also, the same question to you, Bugsy, if you were listening.
He is.
Mine is Halloween 3, but I don't know, maybe it's just because I went in seeing it without knowing anything. But, yeah. Also, why'd you guys rate Quiet Place so high? I mean, it's a good movie.
Well, that's right.
I'm not saying.
Hang on, let's take this let's break this down. So yeah, I have to agree. So far, of what I've seen Halloween 1 through 4, and then
and 2018 and
2018 and Kills. And of those, I definitely disliked 3 the most.
Right.
Because it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. It's a confusing movie at best, and just cocaine-addled writing at worst. So that, and I know, I feel like I can speak for Bugsy on this one. 3 is his least favorite as well. So you're in good company there, Robert. Let's see here. He's getting into... Oh, now he's asking us about Quiet Place and why we liked it.
That's not a good movie. Just think about all these plot holes. Now, before I say them, just don't get mad at me for saying that. But I don't think that it's that good just because of all these plot holes. Like, you know how the dad, John Krasinski, takes his daughter to the waterfall where they can just yell and scream and stuff and do whatever they want because the waterfall is so loud that the monster can't hear the sounds they're making over it? Why don't they literally just make their house right next to the waterfall? Then they can be as loud as they flippin' want and the monster won't hear them.
How are you going to build that house, Robert? How are you going to build that house? With what?
Why did nobody ever think of that? Then the monster will never come for you because he'll never hear you. Anyways, I mean, it's still a good movie. I mean, that kind of just was just a big mistake for me. I don't know. Anyways, it's Robert the Farter. I'm out.
All right.
I love it. Hang on.
You need a drill with a battery pack. You gotta put... First thing you gotta do is put the can on its side.
Robert, that didn't bother me too much, mainly because I wonder how they would build a house, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you need nails and screwdriver, and I mean, sure, you're near the waterfall, but you gotta get all this supplies there. Like,
yeah, you gotta truck it. Trucks are usually loud.
Statistically, it would be very difficult to do.
There's a lot of questions that you could ask around A Quiet Place, like, why are they out in, like, rural America? Wouldn't they still be in urban centers? Like,
yeah,
it's pretty quiet out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where it breaks down if you think about it too much. But in terms of, like, the concept, I think it was a good movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I don't know where I fall in this spectrum. I don't think I'm able to suspend my disbelief so much that that I can enjoy slashers. But I'm definitely able to do it pretty well, and I wanted this to be a fun movie. I mean,
yeah,
you know, and the other thing that Quiet Place had going for it, I mean, to this day, that was the most impressive movie-going experience I've ever had. Ever.
Right.
I went with Bryce and his wife, and I mean, that theater was silent, and you could feel the energy in there. Like, everybody was really having a good time.
Yeah.
And so that was a very fun experience for me. That's a big part of it. Okay, next caller.
Much love, Bryce and David Day. It's your boy Bugsy calling from Tampa Bay, the Sunshine State. Anywho, just wanted to let you guys know again, it was such an honor being on your Halloween 4 Return of Michael Myers review. I love that movie. It's my favorite sequel in the franchise. I love you guys. I've been a little bit down on my luck lately financially. I'm in between positions, trying to find new work because I can't keep delivering Uber Eats to rich people when gas is $3.50 a gallon. They don't really tip, and me spending 12 hours, 13 hours a day driving in my car is kind of running the mileage up and killing my back. But that's when I love to listen to you guys the most. I love to listen to you guys the most when I'm in my car and I'm doing my ventures, and you guys kind of save me from the mundane bullshit of society. But, I love you guys. I'm your biggest supporter. It's your boy Bugsy Siegel, HMT's rapper. Let's get it. Much love, B&D, Bryce and David Day.
Man, if you're out there and you're getting Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever the fuck, and you're not tipping your drivers, man, fuck you, dude. Like, this is such a service, and it's like, I don't know. I just can't imagine. Like, I'm so tip oriented. Like, I'm like, how much do I tip everybody? Like, and the answer is just like, just be nice to people, like as nice as you can.
Okay, I have a question for you, like about tipping, and this is, okay, I'll just ask it.
Yeah.
If you get takeout, so you're going to the place and picking it up, and they print it out, and you got to like sign it, and there's a tip line and total line.
Yeah.
Do you tip for takeout?
So this is a really good question because it's recently become confounded, right? So like pre-pandemic, no, don't tip. I mean, maybe occasionally if you really like the place or something like that. But once the pandemic hit, then it was like, oh, these people are struggling, and I wouldn't tip normally, but I'd throw $2 or $3 on there, because like, what's $2 or $3?
Yeah,
it's like, and they can definitely use it. So,
what about drive-through?
Oh, hell no.
Right.
No.
See, what's the difference between drive-through and pickup, though?
That's a good question. Yeah, I guess.
Because I went to, like, Muchas Gracias, and they, like, have the tip thing. Like, yeah, just select a tip. I'm like,
dude, the most ingenious thing that has ever happened to tipping is Square.
You're right.
Square payments. Fucking forcing it under your chin. I'm like, oh, this is brilliant.
Do you feel like you want to feel like a horrible person right now?
The answer
just press 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I always associate tipping with service. So, like, you tip for, like, people that are taking care of you or, like, serving you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like servers in a restaurant or...
A DoorDasher.
Or even, DoorDash. Like, that's the thing is, like, if we're tipping takeout and drive-thrus, like, who are you not tipping a DoorDash or Uber Eats person that's driving their own vehicle to come to your door?
Yeah.
It's like they're not even asking to leave your door. So, yeah, that seems egregious not to tip well for those. But, yeah, for me, I'm like, there's no service with takeout. You just walk, like, I have to leave, walk in, and get it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this, even if it was like curbside, I would almost be like, oh, okay, you had to walk 7 feet.
Yeah.
Even like Dutch Brothers, where they're like, you know, hey, how's it going? How's your day? And they're like outside.
I'll
and
tip
like
you
greeting.
to shut the fuck up. That's what I'll do. Shut the fuck up. Do not talk to me. What the fuck is going on? Like, that makes me so irate. This thing where it's like, how's your day going? What are you doing? Where are you going? Oh, how long's your dick? It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. You need to shut up.
Yeah. There's like a TikTok where the people from Dutch Brothers just start climbing into your driver's side window.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what it feels like.
Listen, it sounds like Bugsy's fallen on some tough times. Bugsy has been a supporter of the show for a long time. He also does our closing song. Stick around to listen to him, but if you'd like to support him, that would be very kind of you.
Or hey, commission a rap song.
Yeah, commission a rap song. He'll dude, Bugsy's all about rolling in them hundies.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at this rap game stuff, but that's why I got Bugsy. So go ahead and follow him on Spotify. That's Bugsy Siegel, and toss him a few ducats. He deserves it. He's a nice guy.
See no evil in Cleveland.
She's back. See no evil's back on the show. Hooray!
Hey Dave. Hey Bryce. What is up? Long time no talk. I'm still here, just living my life the best way I can, being blind. It ain't easy sometimes, but I'm making it. I'm faking it while I make it. I just wanted to let you know I listened to, I think it was Last Night in Soho, the review for that. Thank you so much. I love your spoiler. I love the way you spoil the movie in detail. For people like me who can't see the movie, I can listen to your spoilers and get a total image of the movie in my head. So I really appreciate the spoilers that you do. Just wanted to say, hey, I'm doing good. I hope you guys are doing good. Keep on rocking the horror movie talk. And peace out.
Dude, I've missed you.
Yeah.
She is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I received a message from her on, maybe it was Halloween or something. She was just like, tell your family I said Happy Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember which holiday it was, but it was just very... she's very thoughtful and she's very kind, and she had some trouble listening to the show. I can't imagine what it's like trying to navigate a smartphone and find our podcast on there specifically. But I'm so glad that she was able to call in and listen to our Last Night in Soho review. We really appreciate her. She is blind, and so
I know they have those closed caption, or like not the dubs for hearing it, or for visually impaired, to where they're like describing what's on screen. I wonder how hard it is to do that in theaters, if any actually have that. So you can like get a headset or something.
Good question, man. I couldn't tell you, because the theater would be a great place to experience a movie, with that massive sound.
Yeah.
If only there was some accompaniment.
Yeah.
Anyway, here is our next caller. So glad to hear from you. See no evil.
Hey boys, this is CJ from Massachusetts. So I need to know, David, what is a scare no-no? I've been listening to the show now for over a year, and I still cannot figure it out.
Okay, CJ, well, I don't
Do you remember where that's from?
Is a meme.
It's from a Tim and Eric sketch.
It was a mattress commercial.
Yeah, the mattress commercial.
Yeah.
You have a case of the Sunday scare no-nos?
Sunday scare no-nos. Sunday scare no-nos!
And drill a hole.
Let me see if I can find it.
Hi, my name is Quirky Purple, and welcome to the Purple Boys series on ideal sleep solutions and zonk strategies. I'm joined by one of the co-creators of the Purple Boys, Gino Purple.
Thank you so much, Quirk. I am indeed Gino Purple, the Purple Boy, and we are here to help you sleep.
Today we're going to be talking about the Sunday Scaries.
And we're going to take you on a wild ride to teach you how to say no-no to the Sunday Scare no-nos.
Purple Boys.
So this is a Purple mattress commercial. So
right.
Purple mattresses are a brand of mattresses, and they hired Tim and Eric to do a series of
commercials for
them, and in the style of Tim and Eric. Yeah. And so we'll just go down.
We don't have to watch the rest of it.
Just a couple more seconds here.
It's your mind. Let the sleep flow through you.
Do you have 2 minutes of time to let me help you sleep?
This is finally sleep you can count on.
It's time to sleep.
The Sunday Scare no-nos.
So you just want to chase those Sunday Scare no-nos away, and you can do that with Purple. We don't have a HMT code with Purple, but maybe we could if you bother them about that or something.
A lot of podcasts advertise mattresses.
Yeah.
Like,
I
wonder how many they have to sell for that to be worth it. I mean, I imagine if we sold a mattress, like that would be a fantastic ROI for how much we charge for advertising.
Oh my God, yeah, for sure. Here's a thing that I've dabbled with recently. There was a time a couple years ago when there were so many mattress stores around our houses in our general vicinity. Like there was one across the street from the other one, and one was named like Mattress Firm, and the other one was like Mattress Factory. And if you go on Google Maps and you type in mattress store, sometimes you'll get like 4 on an intersection.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh, these are definitely fronts for cleaning money.
Yeah, there's a meme where it was specifically Mattress Firm. It's like, yeah, there's mattress firms like several in the same town. It's like, how could you possibly need that many? And you never see anyone in them. Never have I seen anyone in that mattress firm on 78th Street.
Funny you should mention that mattress firm on 78th Street. I went in there this week, bought a bed for my daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I stand corrected. See, that's the type of business.
It seems like a front for washing money.
Yeah, that's the type of business that it's either a front for washing money or their margins must be so insane.
That's the answer.
That they can
especially once memory foam. Notice that this didn't happen until memory foam came out. Memory foam came out, and they're just like, "Oh shit, we just cut foam into a square. That's it. You don't even got to twist the metal around."
Yeah, we've already got the machines to sew fabric around squares.
Yeah, once you can sell foam for $1,000 a pop,
right?
And it costs $35,
and they're
materials.
like, no, this is special foam.
Yeah,
it's not like the normal foam.
This foam remembers.
Yeah. You got to buy this foam, or else it's going to tell us your secret.
Hey, with that is the end of our show. I'm really curious to know, I ask questions a lot of you people, and you never have fully addressed them. We have a fucking voicemail line. You can call us at 682-253-4468. Tell me, am I being crazy with Paranormal Activity next to kin, or is Bryce being crazy? It's hard for me to know. I'm constantly questioning reality. I want your opinions. So call us up and let us know what you think of the movie, and we'll just take that, and if you side with Bryce, he'll just lord that over my head, and if you side with me, I'll take it graciously, and I'll I'll be like, oh, it's yes, of course, and I'll be very, I'll have a lot of candor about it.
Right.
But
that's never happened. So I mean, who knows if that will actually be true?
Got to stay humble. See, and this is what I'm talking, lording it over my head. He's doing it right now as we speak. Nothing's even happened, and he's already doing it. Make sure to share the show with a friend. That helps us grow a lot. If every one of you shared the show with a friend, we'd be double the size that we are now, which is huge. We'd be the size of at least Cambodia. Go ahead and support the show any way you can. Of course, on our website, there's that Amazon link. If you're going to do your holiday shopping, make sure to head to horrormovietalk.com, click through the link at the top of our website. It says buy stuff on Amazon, then do all your holiday shopping on Amazon or, locally, and support your locals so that they don't go out of business. Whatever. It's just...
Which is it?
Yeah, which is it? Thanks again, and we love you. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Looking for a podcast full of burps and gas, perverted cast, skinny and fat? Look no further. Horror Movie Talk is accidentally funny, begs to donate money, fake sponsors for dummies, and so much more. New episodes every hump day. They'll pickle your dickle for foreplay. Patreon members have it your way. Vote for a movie every month for the review. Choppa choppa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating Jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rumps. Kiss Bryce Hansen. Look at them hot kids, Chris Henson. Masturbate with a crucifix, exorcist. Face hugger, chest bursters, alien. Linda Blair peed on Sigourney Weaver. I know it's true cause it came from social media. Patrick Bateman can't understand you. Stab you to death for rotten apple reviews. Opinionated podcaster with a doctorate. Spookology, doctor of philosophy. Bad gastritis, need colostomy. Turn Patreons into human centipedes. David Doobie Day, scare no expert. And Global Fucks hard, professional sexpert. Afterpods, taglines, and porno flicks. American Psycho, them guys pretty sick. Choppa choppa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating Jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rumps. Nothing good happens in the woods. Always get more than you bargain for. Got a pickle to dickle, machines tickle bitties. Killer on the phone, ain't no Sharon Stone. Vancouver, Portland, Oregon, and organs. Corona, COVID, curse, Lorona. Green River Killer, because reasons. Hallway of poop monster kids screaming. Ain't your ordinary dingleberry itinerary. 30-day shutter and jump scares, they fucking scary. Time for the spoilers with jokes and tropes. Use their white socks to catch their loads. Just show them one titty, pretty. Paganism you should worship, they Teflon dicks. Pacific Northwest, let them see one breast. Shifty ass, stay spooky, poor man's digress. Bugsy, HMT, Horror Movie Talk. Hold on, they don't like Halloween. Fuck them.
Sir, why don't you just use real cows?
Cows don't look like cows on film. You gotta use horses.
What do you do if you want something that looks like a horse?
Usually we just tape a bunch of cats together.